I hate that I'm so conflicted about my opinions on Receiver 2. I mean, on paper, it's a concept that just interests the shit out of me. Receiver 2 is a game that does not automate any aspect of the shooting process. You can't just press a button and reload your gun. Every single thing that you have to perform to reload your gun has a keybind assigned to it that you have to press in sequence to correctly get your weapon to be ready to fire again. Now, having said that out loud, does that not sound super fucking cool? Because it does to me. I've been playing first person shooters for the majority of my life, and there's no other game out there that really captures the sensation of shooting quite like Receiver 2 does. I mean, there's a lot of games out there that you die in one shot, but there's no other game out there that lets you accidentally shoot yourself in the leg while holstering your weapon. If I could offer praise to one part of this game more than anything else, it really is that the sensation of shooting and the feel of handling your weapon in game is just unparalleled. You really can't get an experience like this from any other game out there right now. And that's something that kind of passed along from the original Receiver, because the original Receiver was actually thought up as a concept game that was programmed because of a competition that they had 7 days to develop a first-person shooter, and that resulted with the original Receiver, which is also a really interesting, cool game. And that's what has me so conflicted about the game, because the core concept I'm very, very down for. Like, I'm super enthused by the idea of not automating anything and making it so that the gun feels almost malleable because you have so much control over each aspect of it. You can flip the safety on and off. You can uncock the hammer. You can check the magazine and see how many bullets are in it and load each bullet in manually. It's ridiculous. Hell, you can even pull the magazine out, pull the slide back, manually engage the slide lock, let go of everything, the slide will stay locked, and then you could just put a magazine in and release the slide lock, or you could also pull back the slide. It's look, if you're a gun nut, you're gonna get your rocks off to this game. That's guaranteed. But this whole thing begs the question: does a really good concept excuse a game from being shitty as a game itself? You don't shoot people in this game. You don't shoot enemy soldiers. You don't shoot other players. You shoot a bunch of turrets and drones that spawn in mass while you're playing the game. Everything about this game is procedurally generated, so you two playthroughs are no two playthroughs are ever going to be the same. But the biggest problem with this game is that whatever process is in charge of the procedural generation, it is smoking some really heavy crack. And these levels just end up being more frustrating than anything. They're just not fun to play through. And the game has a ranking system so that if you die, you actually end up re- returning to the previous level and having to do that level over again before moving forward. And trust me, I know what they're going for. It's a game where you can shoot yourself in the foot accidentally and die if you have a Desert Eagle. They're trying to make it so that it's intense. Everything is very, very tense. You're supposed to move inch by inch. You're supposed to make sure you have a good view on your surroundings. And you're supposed to always, always, always be tense. A cool little detail I like about this game is when you look in the mirrors or the windows as you're passing along these procedurally generated levels, your player character is actually a big target. Like you're a human target to these robots. But that being said, it comes across more like they're trying to be deep than anything else. It's weird. While games like Hotline Miami put in meta narrative stuff and they make it intense and difficult, and it works, Receiver 2 tries the same thing, but for some reason it just doesn't really achieve the same sensation than that beating a game like Hotline Miami 2 does. And I don't know whether or not to chalk that off to that it tries too hard or that it doesn't try hard enough. Because Hotline Miami 2 and other difficult games all have carefully curated levels that work with the kind of gameplay that they're trying to get you to adopt. Whereas Receiver 2, since it's all procedurally generated, it doesn't really have that same advantage. And trust me, I know why they made it procedurally generated. It's because they want the player to have replay value. They want this game to be something that players can just always pick up and play, and they're never, well, supposedly, they're never supposed to get bored of it because it's procedurally generated. You don't know what you're going to get when you start the level. But, because as I mentioned before, whatever's in charge of procedurally generating these levels is smoking methamphetamine or something, it ends up just making the game really unfair and unfun to play. And I want to have fun playing this game. I really, really do. It's so much fun to rack a fucking gun and see the fucking bullet actually go in the chamber and then shoot a couple shots off and have a fucking failure to feed, and you gotta sit there and figure out how to fix it. That's in no other game. That's entirely unique to Receiver 2 and the flavor of gunplay that it's dreamt up for itself. But every time one of those drones starts like flying towards me and I miss it because I'm that shit of a shot and it kills me in one hit and makes me have to repeat an hour's worth of procedurally generated bullshit, I really don't want to fucking play this game anymore. And that meta narrative stuff, I really couldn't tell you why it doesn't land for me, but you know how when you get like a really good like little shock in a game and it kind of twirls your stomach up a little bit, like you feel a little like I wouldn't call it a butterfly in your stomach, but it feels a little bit like somebody's like jamming a finger up your ass and going like, ooh, you feel that at the bottom of your stomach there, boy. Well, the only time I ever got that little like finger up the ass of shock playing this game was when I looked in the mirror and I saw myself as a target. Like, that's it. That's the only thing that ever landed for me. None of the other tapes landed. None of the forced suicide moments landed. None of the supposed atmosphere landed. It was just, for me, it just felt cardboard. It felt just meh. Really, if you pick up nothing else from this review, pick up this. Receiver 2, in some weird way, is completely worth your time. This game is just slick, and I don't regret buying it full price at all. This game, I still find myself going back to play it, if for nothing else because the shooting is just that satisfying. But, if you want to wait for a sale, I don't blame you. This game is... it's just such a cool concept, but I just don't think they really pulled it off in this one. But, hell, support these developers, buy a copy if you like the idea as much as I did, but maybe Receiver 3 will be the big one.